covered. This could end up in a third world war. This could have been a third world war. I don't think that's going to happen now. But I thought it was very respectful that the president of Russia is coming to our country as opposed to us going to his country or even a third party place. But I think we'll have constructive conversations. Then after that meeting, immediately, maybe as I'm flying out, maybe as I'm leaving the room, I'll be calling the European leaders who I get along with very well. And, I have a great relationship, I think, with all of them. And I get along with Zelensky, but, I disagree with what he's done. Very, very severely disagree. This is a war that should have never happened. But I'll be speaking to Zelensky. The next meeting will be with Zelensky and Putin, or Zelensky and Putin and me. I'll be there if they need, but I want to have a meeting set up between the two leaders. I was a little bothered by the fact that Zelensky was saying, well, I have to get constitutional approval. I mean, he's got approval to go into war and kill everybody, but he needs approval to do a land swap, because there'll be some land swapping going on. I know that through Russia and through conversations with everybody, to the good, for the good of Ukraine. Good stuff, not bad stuff. Also, some bad stuff, for both. There's good and there's bad. But it's very complex because you have lines that are very uneven, and there'll be some swapping, there'll be some changes in land, and the word that they will use is, they make changes. We're going to change the lines, the battle lines. Russia's occupied a big portion of Ukraine. They've occupied some very prime territory. We're going to try and get some of that territory back to Ukraine. But they've taken some very prime territory. They've taken largely ocean, in real estate we call it oceanfront property. That's always the most valuable property. If you're in a lake, a river, or an ocean, it's always the best property. Well, Ukraine, a lot of people don't know that Ukraine was largely 1,000 miles of ocean. That's gone. Other than one small area, Odessa, it's a small area. There's just a little bit of water left. So I'm going to go and see the parameters. Now, I may leave and say, good luck, and that'll be the end. I may say this is not going to be settled. I mean, there are those that believe that Putin wanted all of Ukraine. I happen to be one of them, by the way. I think if it weren't for me, he would not be even talking to anybody else right now. But I'm going to meet with him. We're going to see what the parameters are. And then I'm going to call up President Zelensky and the European leaders right after the meeting, yeah. And I'm going to tell them what kind of a deal. I'm not going to make a deal. It's not up to me to make a deal. I think a deal should be made for both. I think Russia has to get back into building their country. It's a massive country. I think they have 11 time zones, if you can believe it. It's a massive, it's by far, from the standpoint of land, it's by far the largest. They have tremendous potential in Russia to do well. They're not doing well. Their economy is not doing well right now because it's been very well disturbed by this. It doesn't help when the President of the United States tells their largest or second largest oil buyer that we're putting a 50% tariff on you if you buy oil from Russia. That was a big blow. And then they say, gee, he wasn't so tough. Nobody else would have done that. And I haven't stopped there. I mean, look, I was all set to do things far bigger than that, but I got a call that they'd like to meet, and I'm going to see what they want to meet about. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I'd like to see the best deal that could be made for both parties. It takes two to tango, right? So ultimately, I'll have a meeting next week. I had a great relationship with him, considering the fact that, I was not nice to him because of the pipeline. I ended the pipeline. I also gave the javelins. Do you ever hear of a javelin? Javelin is called a tank buster. They say that Obama gave them sheets and I gave them javelins. If it weren't for me, all those tanks that were destroyed at the first days of the war because the tanks got stuck in the mud, some commander made a better they would have been in Kiev in 4 hours going down the highway. But a Russian general made a brilliant decision to go through the farmland instead. And they just had torrential rains, and the rains were so bad, and it was mud, and those tanks got stuck in the mud. I don't know who that general is, but knowing Vladimir, he's probably not around any longer because all those tanks were stuck in the mud, and they went along with the javelins. I gave them the javelins. You know that, right? I gave them javelins. They gave them sheets. But I'm going to meet with President Putin, and we're going to see what he has in mind. And if it's a fair deal, I'll reveal it to the European Union leaders and to the NATO leaders, and also to President Zelensky. I think out of respect, I'll call him first, and then I'll call them after. And I may say, lots of luck, keep fighting, or I may say we can make a deal. I will tell you this, I've seen a poll coming out of Ukraine. 88% of the people would like to see a deal made.
Make sure y'all go follow on TikTok too. Ralph the Wise on TikTok. We on both platforms right now. So if you want to come up and talk, go follow Ralph the Wise. The box is open, so that way people can hear you. So go fill that box up, and then you could be a part of the conversation too. All right? So go fill that box up over there, Ralph the Wise. The guest box is open. You can just come up and be a guest over there.
And it was nasty.
And then you could be heard.
Killed all over the place. And he went through 1 week of war, and I was able to get the deal done. He said, "This is nasty."
I got a job.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just to follow up on what you were saying. First of all, Volodymyr Zelensky is.
Did I ask you for any of your money or
He
anything?
wasn't a part of it.
I can see if I asked you for some of your money, then you could tell me to go get a job. I didn't ask you for money. I asked you to go follow so you could join the conversation.
This for 3.5 years. What's the definition of a good deal? I'll tell you after I hear what the deal is, because there could be many definitions. You know, you're talking about a very large and complex situation. Now, I said to you, the war that
Keeping up with Trump is a job.
with Azerbaijan and with, as you know, and Armenia was almost as complex as this one, having to do with routes, trade.
Meeting on Friday with Vladimir.
Well, we're going to have a meeting with Vladimir Putin, and at the end of that meeting, probably in the first 2 minutes, I'll know exactly whether or not a deal can be
How do you
made.
know that?
Because that's what I do. I make deals. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to ask you 2 questions, one about China, one about Russia, if I could. On China, your administration agreed to send the most advanced advanced NVIDIA and AMD chips.
No, obsolete, no.
Obsolete chip. Well, and then 15% of the
You
profits.
mean the 20s? No, this is an old chip that China already has. And I deal with Jensen, who's a great guy, and NVIDIA. The chip that we're talking about, the H20, it's an old chip. China already has it in a different form, different name, but they have it. Or they have a combination of two will make up for it, and even then some. Now Jensen Jensen's a very brilliant guy, and Jensen also has a new chip, the Blackwell. Do you know what the Blackwell is? The Blackwell is super duper advanced. I wouldn't make a deal with that, although it's possible I'd make a deal, a somewhat enhanced in a negative way Blackwell. In other words, take 30% to 50% off of it. But that's the latest and the greatest in the world. Nobody has it. They won't have it for 5 years. But the H20 is obsolete. You know, it's one of those things, but it still has a market. So I said, listen, I want 20% if I'm going to approve this for you, for the country, for our country, for the U.S. I don't want it myself. You know, every time I say like 747, I want, yeah, for the Air Force. So I just wanted, so when I say I want 20, I want for the country. I only care about the country. I don't care about myself. And he said, would you make it 15? So we negotiate a little deal. So he's selling a essentially old chip that Huawei has a similar chip, a chip that does the same thing. And I said, good, if I'm going to give it to you, because they have a, they have a stopper, what we call a stopper, not allowed to do it. And restricted is really known as
Make
a
sure y'all
restricted
hit the
code.
like button and make sure
And I
y'all
said, if I'm
subscribe to
gonna
the
do that, I
page.
want you to pay us.
Hit the like button and subscribe to the page.
I released them only from the
We need more subs.
On the Blackwell, I think he's coming to see me again about that. But that will be a unenhanced version of the big one. Like, I don't know if you know, we will sometimes sell fighter jets to
What if
a
we try to
country,
get
and
10,000
we'll give them 20%
subscribers in 1
less.
week?
than we have.
What if
You know
we
what I
tried
mean?
that method?
That's just it.
Y'all think we can get 10,000 followers in 1 week?
Do you see a time, Mr. President, when there could be normal trade between the
How do we
US
get
and
10,000
Russia?
followers
Should
in
we go
1
Russia,
week?
there be peace?
I think that'll shake
Russia
up
has
YouTube
a
if we got
very valuable
10,000
piece of land.
authentic followers in 1 week.
Vladimir Putin would go toward business instead of toward war. You know, it's a warring nation. That's what they do. They fight a lot of wars. A friend of mine said Russia's tough because they just keep on fighting. They beat Hitler, so did we. And they beat Napoleon. You know, they've been doing this for a long time. I asked a question to a very, very smart man that some people like and some people don't like. Viktor Orban, right? From Hungary, the head of Hungary. And he's in that same area and knows the two countries very well. I said, this was before Biden.
Hold on, we heard this one before. Hold on, this got to be a different one up.
This is a great, they all voted for me. No Republican has ever gotten the support of the Teamsters and the auto workers. And now the head of the auto workers have been so amazing. I watched them on television and they can't even believe what happened. And I told them all what was going to happen. We secured new market access for American agricultural exports all over the world. Our secretary is doing a great job. Thank you, Brooke. And we have negotiated historic trade deals with the United Kingdom, China, Indonesia, Vietnam, the Philippines, Japan, South Korea, who was here yesterday, and the European Union. Foreign nations are now paying hundreds of billions of dollars straight into our treasury, and numbers that nobody's ever seen before. As you know, we made trade deals with a lot of countries, and many of those countries, just to be able to sit at the table, are paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. We made a trade deal with the European Union. They were rough on us for a long time. And now we have a very good deal. We made that with them. Trillions of dollars is coming into our country. Trillions. Far beyond billions, trillions of dollars. Wouldn't you say, Scott?
Yes, sir.
And in a short period of time.
Yeah, if we
by $750 billion.
just think about it, if we get enough subscribers over here, when we do go live from Streamlabs, we can actually have a conversation about a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world. So that's why I say subscribe to the page and like the page, because that way when we do pull over to Streamlabs, at least we'll have enough people to hold the conversation. And, you know, if you have TikTok, go follow Ralph the Wise, because I'm trying to build 1,000 subscribers over there. So however you want to do this, you know, let's move forward with the conversation. Let's be more informed on everything that's going on, you know, in the world. You know, you can still be a gamer. You can still be a sports fan. You know, you could be anything you want to be, but still keep up with what's going on, right? There's a lot of things that's going on. This is why they say, like, we turn a blind eye to everything, or we pretend like we don't see it and miss a lot of stuff that's going on in the world, is because we choose to turn that blind eye. All the stuff be right there in front of us. The way that they use people, you know, manipulate money, funds, all of that stuff, it's all right there. You know what I mean? So, you know, let's be greater together, and let's keep informed. Keep each other informed.
Energy product.
So make sure y'all join the
Energy's
Discord.
more than anybody else, and we're using it. But the European Union is a done deal, and Japan is done. I heard there was a problem with South Korea.
Well, listen.
We met yesterday, and they're done. We didn't do it.
Listen, I guarantee you, if you subscribe to this page, you'll get enough Democrat responses. I guarantee you that. Especially we shaking out of the Jaguar right sector. Oh, you want some Democratic responses? Subscribe to this page and come in on one of our Trump conversations, and I guarantee you they'll come up in the box and give you every little bit of Democratic conversation you want.
And we just kept the same deal. He honored.
But I'm not a Democrat though, so that's why I say, like, even though they might, I'm just, you know, we over here at the Atlas family, we follow, you know, love, light, and peace. You know, so Trump's for peace, we're for peace. We're gonna listen to anybody that's trying to push peace.
You know, it takes you a little while to fix up the Oval Office and do those things. prepare for the battle, right? So we really only been here for a very short period of time, and we cut the trade deficit in half. Is that right? That's fantastic. I didn't even think we were gonna do that. And remember, these are things that are being built. These things are, all these numbers are good, they're not open yet. When they open, you're gonna see things happen in the United States that nobody's ever seen before, including our country in its heyday.
No
And
caps
I
is
had
to
the
get my
greatest,
attention.
economy in
When
the
I
history
see
of our
no
country,
caps, I'm
my
thinking
first
it's
4
one of my
years.
mods trying to get my attention, trying to alert me to something or tell me
Which is a
something.
very
So
unfortunate
no caps
situation for
is
the whole world.
only
We
for
did a great
mods,
job with it. Never got the
respectfully.
credit for the job we did. Operation Warp Speed, people say, is one of the greatest achievements ever in politics.
Plus,
in the
all
military.
caps
It
is a
was almost
recognition of
military
yelling.
procedure. But,
And we don't need to yell at each other
everybody,
in here.
including Putin, said that Operation Warp Speed, what you did with that, nobody can believe it. And we did a great job, but it was a horrible, horrible pall over our country. We had a very dark cloud over the world. That was a very, very bad thing that came out of
Y'all tap the
Wuhan,
screen up,
which
tap
was
the
said
screen
to
up so them
everyone.
likes can
That's
go
where it
up.
came from. And
If
China
you're not a
suffered
bot
greatly,
and you a
but
real
everybody
person,
did.
tap the screen
But
so
we,
them likes can go up. Look,
you did a good job with that, as good as you could possibly.
the way I see this is you can show that you're not a bot and put a thumbs up or a thumbs down. As long as you're engaging with the screen, you can always hit the arrow button at the bottom of the screen and also copy the link. Copied in the link also counts as like a share. So when you copy the link, it counts as a share, right? So these are ways that you can help me build the page if you are not going to subscribe to the page, right? I get it. Everything ain't for everybody. This type of space might not be for everybody. I get that. You know what I mean? So, if you don't want to like the live, dislike it. As long as you're giving YouTube engagement, I'm cool with it, all right? So let's build the room up, build the space, and then that way when we do go to Streamlabs or StreamYards, we can actually bring people up that actually want to conversate, because we have to be able to talk about everything that's going on in the world. If you're afraid to talk about it, then don't sub to the page, all right? Because eventually we got to start talking about this before November, before that 3-eye Atlas comet comes into, visual. So let's try to get the page built right now before November, and we have to talk about this, okay?
We do, and we came back, and now we're stronger than ever before. If I didn't win this election, this country was gone.
I hope he get the Nobel Peace
Economically,
Prize.
it was gone. None of the things that we're
I want to
talking
see
about
that brought
happened.
back. I want
The whole
somebody
world
to
was
get the
robbing
Nobel
us
Peace
blind.
Prize.
Friend and foe. They were stealing our
Dennis
jobs,
Rodman tried to
our
get it.
money, our factories. They were stealing everything. We would have been a shell. We would have been a bankrupt, broken shell. And that's the way it is, but we're doing just the opposite. Stronger than we've ever been. Last month in a landmark achievement, I also proudly signed the largest working class tax cuts in American history. So the bill that, I'm not gonna use the term great, big, beautiful, that was good for getting it approved, but it's not good for explaining to people what it's all about. It's a massive tax cut for the middle class. It's a massive tax cut for jobs. And it's, think of it, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security. So seniors, I don't know how you can vote for anybody else. And, just think of that, and no tax on overtime. So you work overtime, you don't have to pay tax on overtime. That's good. The Democrats don't know what they're gonna do. So they have like this soundbite. They have all these sound bites. They send it out, I don't know, some guy sends out a word and everybody uses it, including the fake news. Some of you are here right now, I'm looking at you. And it's death. They use the word death.
Yeah, so, look, do anybody know how to get in, it's like somebody in the collective Golden, get in touch with the Sean Atwood's network and tell them that I have a pitch for a business that is so monumental that they would want to be the first ones to expose it. You know what I mean? And I need to get on a bigger platform so I can, get this idea out of my head to, to greater minds to see if it's, accomplishable.
Actually, life, it's almost like a newborn life. It's not death. That's their soundbite. The bill is death. It's not. We strengthen Social Security. We strengthen Medicare, Medicaid. The job we've done on
Not
Social
business with
Security,
him
if the
particularly,
Democrats got
just
in,
business
Social
with,
Security is over.
you know,
Because the
once
country's
you
gonna
get the
fail.
idea
There
out
won't be
there
any
on a
Social
bigger
Security.
platform, then the right
And,
people will
I
come,
made
the
that
right
one too. We're
investors
gonna
will
take
listen
care
and be like,
of
damn,
Social
that is a
Security,
great
Medicare,
idea.
Medicaid, and we're doing that in spades because the country is becoming so successful again. And it hasn't been this successful. I think in the end, it will never have been this successful. I don't think it'll even be close with what's happening. Every American is seeing a tax cut as a result of the bill. The average police officer will keep an extra $1,000 a year at least in overtime, and the average waiter or waitress will keep nearly $2,000 extra in the fact that they would have had to pay that kind of money on tips. And I never realized that the government was so strong on that, but waitresses, waiters would tell me that the government would go after them, but it was horrible. That's how it all started with me. It just was incredible. And the biggest thing was, again, the $4 trillion that they found. They said, well, that was nice. They should have announced it. I could have told them that. And I don't know. It should be simple. But a lot of people didn't understand it. Actually, a lot of good people didn't understand it. But now they're saying, you know, Trump was right. They'd never seen anything like this. And I don't know what it is, Scott. They didn't understand what we were trying to explain to them was going to happen. Everybody's moving back to the United States because they don't want to pay a tax. If they're not here, they have to pay a tax. And it didn't seem that complicated, but it's working at a level that nobody can imagine. You know, this is working $4 trillion, but
What you mean, change my picture?
Number. It's a number
My
that
profile
nobody ever
picture?
heard before, but $4 trillion is exciting. But that's nothing compared to what's
my
happening.
profile picture
Because
should
these
still be
places
the
haven't
same.
even opened yet. Some of them haven't even started hiring yet. They're under construction, so it's construction jobs, but it's not the big number. And the big numbers, when they open, they're going to be very successful. It's a revolution. We're also working on things to ensure that the awesome power of artificial intelligence is used to benefit all Americans, including American workers and also American children. In that spirit, our wonderful First Lady has just announced a presidential AI challenge. It's going to be a very good challenge, I can tell you. Put her heart into it, which will inspire the next generation to stay on the cutting edge of this vital technology. This is the new internet, the new computer, the new television, the new everything all put together in one. This is why when I show you a picture like that, I mean, I show you this. This is a factory superimposed over the island of Manhattan. And you have many of them being built right now all over the country, or soon to start, some of them. Some of them have started. This one has actually started. That's in the great state of Louisiana. But the First Lady is working very hard on this, and it's an important initiative. And Melania, when she puts her mind to it, nobody can do better. There's nobody. So every young person should
Y'all make
go
sure
to
y'all subscribe to the page. Tap that screen. Tap that screen.
To learn more. AI.gov.
We don't even got 100 likes yet.
And you'll see it's a great challenge. I think it's going to be a very modern kind of a challenge. It involves AI, which is very exciting.
How don't we have 100 likes? Did y'all
Raise a lot of
thumbs?
money for
Everybody
children.
thumbs okay?
We're putting America
Everybody got
first.
thumbs,
and we're
right?
going to be putting the America worker first.
See,
And,
all you
know,
need
the
is
Republican
thumbs.
Party has picked up 4
To show that you a
million
real
new
person.
people.
All you really need is
4 million.
thumbs.
The Democrats have lost 2.5 million. Other than that, they're extremely happy. No, they're very depressed. They're very depressed. And the new box that they've fallen into is crime.
Is you a real person
There was a
or
consultant
no?
on one of the shows this morning I was watching. I thought he was very good. And he's a Democrat consultant. And he was screaming, no, don't let him do this to you. It's another trap. It's another trap. What he's talking about, like men playing in women's sports. They said that's an 80-20. No, it's a 97-3. It's 97-3. Like transgender for everybody. They fought for it. They're still fighting for it. I saw a guy today, a politician that you all know very well, fighting like hell for.
Also, I'm looking for somebody to duet on
Well, I agree they're human.
on my
But you can't have a 7
gaming page.
playing basketball.
So basically, we'll stream the game
You know,
together
just one of those
and
little
on
problems
TikTok,
in life.
and all you got to do is come up on the
We'll have a
screen.
place, it's okay.
I'll show you how to
I've
do
got
it
my
and
place
everything
too.
like that, and then you just
But,
duet.
This
And,
guy's screaming, it's another trap, and this is the worst of all. He said, because this is crime. Trump is saying he's against crime, and they're for crime. No, he's going, it was funny. No, it's a trap, don't do it. And then I saw this poor stupid Chuck Schumer, the guy, he looks like he's aged 100 years, and I don't like getting into looks. You know, looks don't mean anything, right? When you're in politics, looks don't matter. I look at Pam, I would never say she's beautiful because that'd be the end of my political career. Secretary, but I will tell you, this is the best of all, and they're gonna fight me. Like the slob of a governor you have in Illinois, this poor guy got thrown out of his business by his family. Know the family, I was partners with the family, nice family, I like the family, but he was no good, they threw him out. He's governor of Illinois, and he goes about Trump, we don't need his help. Chicago is the worst. These places are really bad. Crime in DC was the worst it ever was. You know, they make up stories. Crime in DC was the worst ever in history.
What an
And
orange joke.
Now, over the last
Shut up. Y'all
13
can't say,
days,
don't
we've
say
worked
stuff
so
like
hard.
that, man. Be
We've
nice.
taken so many.
Be nice.
Many left, but we've
I
taken so
apologize.
many
I
criminals,
apologize
over
for reading that
1,000.
out loud. I
I
apologize.
watched a man
For the for the you
from
know for the
Maryland
people that's on Trump's side, I apologize for reading
said
that
to
out
me,
loud.
I mean, sir, you're the greatest president. You're doing an unbelievable job. What a great job, Governor. Moore,
How can we be nice?
He's hopeful for
You could be
president.
nice by,
But
you
I
know,
met him, and I didn't
I don't
realize
know.
it was on
Maybe you should
camera.
try
You
just
could see
speaking
the
of good
camera.
qualities or something.
was
I don't
at
know.
a
Maybe you
game,
should
I
speak
was
about
young lady game
the
or
7
something.
wars that he won.
And I met
Maybe
him
you should
in a hallway.
speak about the
And as usual,
business
you do your
deals that
job
he
very well.
closed.
One of
Maybe
these
you
great
should speak
cameramen
about the
had him on tape.
$350 billion
But I met
that
this
he
gentleman,
deal
I
that he
never
just
met him
closed with
before.
NATO, selling
Sir,
our
you're doing a
defenses.
great job.
I don't know.
You're doing an unbelievable job. Thank you very much. But then he goes on television and says, "Oh, Trump is a dictator. He's a dictator." And a lot of people get so.
No, he's
so
not.
the
He's
lie
not.
is
He
I'm
don't
a
have to be
dictator,
that intelligent.
but I stopped
Sometimes you just got to be a
So a lot
good
of people
reader,
say,
a
"No,
good
that's the case
face,
of I'm a
somebody
dictator."
who's not
But I'm
scared to
not a
say the
dictator.
stuff that
I just gotta
everybody
stop
else is,
lying.
you know,
And,
everybody else is the brains. You see all these people around him? That's all the brains. That's all the brains. All he got to do is play his part.
And he
You know what I'm
should be
saying? Say the shit that people
say
scared to
all
say.
the things.
Do the shit that people
He's
scared to
out of
do. All the big brains
out
is
of
around him doing all the other
In
shit.
New York, it's
You know what I
out of
mean?
control.
He don't need to be a big
Not as
brain.
bad as
He just need to be a
Illinois,
leader.
by the way.
You know what I
Not
mean?
even
Everybody
close.
else, you think about
In
this. That's what I pay
California,
you for.
would
You
not
think
have
about
the
that. That's what I
Olympics
pay you for.
not sent
What
their
I do,
troops,
I
send
face the
international
nation.
guard. They did
You
a
know what I'm saying?
fantastic job. We have the Olympics, we have the World Cup coming. I got them in my first term, and I was really sad because I said, "Oh,
Y'all
boy,
know how this
I
stuff
got
works,
them,
man.
and I
Stop
won't be
acting like y'all
president."
don't know how this stuff
And
works.
little things
And hit
happen.
that
Thank you,
subscribe
Josh.
button.
No, little things
Nah,
happen.
look.
Think of it. I got.
No, look.
You can ask.
Look, think about it. Think about it like this, right? A lot of times we need different figureheads, right? A lot of times we need different figureheads at different times. Different people to play different roles for the greater good of the nation, right? Biden's not going to say the stuff that we need him to say, right? We already seen that. He fumbled with words, right? The Democratic Party didn't even show him no respect. When we seen Kamala walk past him, she didn't, even recognize his face. Like half the people were just walking by Biden like he was just a stupid, right? Now we got Trump in there, right? Trump has a way with other, foreign leaders, and maybe it's because he can think just like them, maybe, whatever it is. But to get Putin to sit down at a table when Europe was in a deadlock, right? That's a great accomplishment to get Putin to sit down at a table when European is in a deadlock. They said that. We couldn't get Putin to sit down and, you know what I'm saying? At least now he's open for a discussion. Right? He's open for a discussion now. In the next 2 weeks, we'll figure that out and what's going on with that. And we'll keep up with that, right? I think we need to keep up with more of what's going on in the world. So make sure you subscribe to the page. And, you know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to the political stance as far as America goes, Yes, of course, a lot of people are not going to like his approach when it comes to homelessness, crime, so on and so forth, right? If you look at America, America has been, secretly run off a lot of the crime, whether it be the alcohol business, whatever the case may be, right? So you look at it, we have sold a lot of fear into this world. We have sold a lot of different things into this world. It's about time we pull back and have a little bit of dignity. It's about time we pull back, have a little bit of respect. It's about time we pull back, have a little moral compass, right? Yes, you're not going to like the person that pulled on them reins, right? Nobody likes the person that pulled on the reins and say, you know what, mankind is out of control. Hold the hell up. Nobody's going to like that person. But if you look at the amount of lust that's in the world, if you look at the amount of, chaos that's in the world, right? Ain't nobody holding themselves to a higher standard. Ain't nobody, carrying themselves with dignity. Half the people is running around with this mindset that I'm going to give people what they giving me. Somebody give me an attitude. Sarcasm is at an all-time high. You don't know what the hell going on. People so sarcastic in this world now, right? Everybody's trying to get world star famous. Everybody's trying to do something to be seen, do something to be heard, right? We got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about in this world. A lot of stuff that we need to, stand on and confront, But y'all don't want to do it. That's why our kids coming up missing. That's why, they running away from home. They coming up missing. That's why we fighting so many battles, we can't fix nothing. Because we got our head on a swivel, every different direction. It's a different thing coming our way, right? That's why I say subscribe to the page. You can't be afraid to have this conversation. Y'all scared to have the conversation. Y'all scared to talk about it. Why y'all scared to talk about it? We trying to better ourselves, right? So if we trying to better ourselves, then the only way we could better ourselves is to hold ourselves to a higher standard, right? We got to hold ourselves to a higher standard. Y'all don't want to hold yourself to a higher standard because y'all still want to do the corrupted stuff in this world, right? You're not even looking at the battle that's taking place with Venezuela, right? And the amount of, UGs that's coming in, right? Or the fact that, they just had the biggest siege, in a long time, which is like $400-something million he's cracking down on the drugs that's coming in. We already have an opioid problem. We got, NAAA. They changed up what you need for NA. Do you know what that means? NA is changed now. You can now be on Subutex, Suboxone, Methadone. Like, this stuff is okay now. Like, do y'all not realize the world that we live in is changed? And that's not even to consider our youth. Our youth is at a point of laziness that I never seen before. They don't take they don't really care about these jobs like we did back in the day. We worked a job with a little bit of passion. We cared about what was going in the bag. We wanted customers to get what they asked for and try to so on and so forth. These kids don't even hear. They trying to take orders with earbuds, listening to music and, you know what I mean? Typing in the wrong stuff. You done got the wrong sauce. You can't go to a fast food. One's in the chat if I'm lying. If I'm telling the truth. Every time you go out to a restaurant, tell me they don't mess up your order. They putting it in the computer wrong because they not listening to you. They there for a check, so they not really there. It's a difference. Back in the day, we want to work because we wanted the experience of working. Right? That was our social experience, right? Their social experience is the internet. They don't need to work for that. Tricking people and lying to people and catfishing people on the internet is their forte. You get what I'm saying? So they don't need to go to work for that. They can go to a friend's house that got it and pretend like they rich. They can get a room and make that room look fashionable and pretend like they balling. These are the things that this world brings, right? Kai Cenat, all of these different streamers, stuff like that. That's why I say if we want the conversation, we got to bring the conversation to the internet. The internet allows you to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. That's why I say subscribe to the page. Make sure you hit the like button, tap the screen, right? Because you got to bring these conversations to the internet. This is where our youth is at. If we not having a conversation on the internet, then the conversation probably not being had because everybody's doing the next dance step. Everybody's doing the next, viral trend, right? Everybody's lusting, greed, gluttony, right? Ain't nobody really holding intellectual conversations anymore. And if they are, they're blocking them out, right? Because the trolls are coming in. That's why we say the internet is undefeated, right? But right now, our world is changing dramatically. Not only with the whole, Schumann resonator, or whatever it's called. I always mess that, word up. Don't worry about it. You'll get it later on. And with everything that's going on with, the temperature, y'all can't tell me summertime feel like summertime. This August, we are in August right now. We're in August with 50-degree weather, 60-degree weather. What? That's not telling you to prepare for a winter? Huh? That's not telling you what the winter about to bring? We should not have this type of temperatures in August, right? National Weather Station shutting down. We ain't even gonna get accurate weather anymore. Y'all ain't paying attention? 3-Eye Atlas comet headed this way, visible or going past by the sun in November, possibly October, right? The world is changing as we know it, right? You got 60 degrees. It is, what is it? August, going into September, we shouldn't be this cold. It's already, what the fall going to look like? What's the fall going to look like? Huh? What's the fall going to look like? So whatever's taking place, with everything that's moving around, y'all say I talk about moon, stars, and quasars, and I shouldn't talk about moon, stars, and quasars, but obviously the moon, stars, and quasars is moving stars and quasars down here that is messing with, the frequency of whatever vibration we are on. And it is causing different variations of effects, and nobody wants to speak about it. Now, the government is letting out what they call a disclosure of variations of knowledge and information, and I think we need to be informed on a lot of this stuff, right? Right. Think about it. Wherever you at, I want you to think about the temperature and how it's supposed to be compared to how it is now, right? I want you to think about, whatever they did in Alaska, whatever waters are moving around, it's stirring up some shit, right? Nobody really wants to speak about it, right? That's why I say go over to TikTok, and Ralph the Wise over there on TikTok. Just go to Ralph the Wise on TikTok, come up in the guest box, right? Or you can go to the Discord, however you want to. But listen, make sure you subscribe to the page. Make sure you tap the screen and get them likes up, right? We on 2 different platforms right now. We being heard on TikTok and y'all on YouTube right now. So we trying to broadcast this conversation, in a wider span. Ralph, you want everyone to be nice and respectful. Sounds like Dump should lead by example. Yes, but he don't have people that's giving those examples. You have to have a little bit of discernment. When it comes to these different measures, we ain't even overpopulated, right? We just don't got the right programs in process, right? Maybe we need to get out here as a collective and start getting some of these, old abandoned buildings fixed up and putting the homeless in them. Maybe we need to start projects where we go and clean up the old projects, and maybe we need to create a space where the homeless can, clean up the area, so on and so forth. Maybe we need to start creating these spaces, right? I don't know if it's a control area, however you want to look at it. I know a place in Florida just got hit off for, because they were on, protected property or, federal property, whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of things that could be changing in this world that we could be doing differently, right? The crime rate in DC, the fact that DC is more so, everything in DC goes to feds. They don't have a state prison in DC, right? Even their state go to the feds, right? So they don't have a state prison in DC, right? A lot of other places have, what they call private prisons, right? Privately owned prisons, right? So however you looking at that, you're right, it's not a state, my apologies. But, however you looking at this, the DMV, whatever you want to call it, however you looking at this, There's a lot of things that's going on in this world, you know, not even including the Commonwealth states, you know, not including, you know, the fact that all states, you know, have their own set of arguments that they're fighting over, right? A lot of different states are already arguing over different points, different, you know. So, you know, you have to look at this world as a whole. You have to look at this world for exactly what it is, you know, in a collective, you know. Yeah, my apologies for saying that. It was a slip of the tongue. I apologize. I stand corrected. Um, I don't have no idea what's going on with other countries. See, Tony, here's the thing about this. In every country, they suppress you to only what's going on in your country. Just like here in America, they suppress us with only American news or what's going on in our country. You know, it's kind of like watching a movie. When you watch a movie, your country's always the good guy and the other countries are always the bad guy. It's the same here in America. And I'm sorry that they played this level of manipulation with our minds where we can't connect with each other like we should. But maybe if we hold these variations of conversations, maybe we can actually understand what is going on in other countries. Maybe we can connect and have a little bit of human decency for each other and have a little bit of conversation on a bigger scale, because we don't know what's going on in other countries because they suppress or keep certain variations of knowledge from us. All right? And I'm not one to say that, you know, whether it's right or wrong, because that's what I'm not here for, right? I'm just here to try to understand one another so we can be better. We're all in this together. Whether you want to keep fighting about it, whether you want to separate, whether you want to divide, guess what? We're all here. We're all still here. And we all still got to deal with it. You know, we've seen a lot of things. We've seen a lot of different variations of separation and division. But I think we all can agree, and I want you to put a 1 in the chat if you agree. Have we ever seen unity? I mean, we've seen different groups, right? But have we ever seen unity? We always see what division look like, but have we ever seen what unity look like? How do we know we want to separate if we never seen what unity look like? Can we see what unity look like first? One time, can we see what unity look like? One's in the chat if you want to see what unity look like. I want to see what peace look like first. Everybody want to say we should be at war, but can we see what peace look like first? I ain't never seen what that like. What that be like? Peace? Huh? Unheard of. Peace? What's peace? Huh? You mean a day where my kids can go to the park and not worry about getting pew-pew? What's that? You mean a day where I can go to work and not worry about what's going on at home because everything is safe? What's that? You mean a day I ain't got to lock my doors and worry about a burglar? What's that? Huh? Huh? You can't even camp in your backyard right now. You too scared. I want y'all to go buy a tent and just go to sleep in the backyard. I bet you can't sleep. You know, I can't sleep. I don't know why I can't sleep, because the world ain't safe. Everybody know the world ain't safe. And it ain't safe because it's not because the animals, it's not because nothing like that. The world ain't safe because people. And people can change. So all we got to do is want to be in a different state of being. That's all we got to do, is want to be in a different state of being. That's why we putting together the collective. That's why we trying to gather and put together neighborhoods of peace, right? We hoping nobody hit the button. That's why we gathering in peace. We searching for peace. Listen, if 72 countries can agree on an Arctic treaty, you know, that nobody should go past a wall, then I think we can come on some type of idea of peace. I mean, the Paris Agreement went to hell. As soon as factories wanted to run that damn fume and all of that shit, Paris Agreement went to hell. And because Barack Obama put the Paris Agreement in place, the Republicans wanted to do nothing but tear it down. Just like the, medical bill that he put in, Obamacare, right? Just because his name was on it, it has to go, right? I mean, Trump's for peace, so I'm for that. But hell, I think he hid Barack Obama's picture in the damn Oval's office until he get out of the office now. Nobody knows where the damn picture at. So it's a lot of kids' games being played by older adults. You know what I mean? So now we stuck in this fucking ego trip, tit for tat, pride thing, and nobody wants to admit that everybody's just training the world how they want to see it fit. I mean, Barack Obama sitting down talking about every man should have a gay professor in their life because that's what made him better. But if you sit down with a pastor going to tell you go to God. So is Barack Obama not of God? Because shit, I want you to tell people to go to God, take it to God. He said a gay man could tell you something about your dad. Think about that. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama said that at her table. And don't make me pull it up, Democrats. Do not make me pull it up because you know it's true. You know he said that shit. He said everybody should keep a man around just in case their kid think about it. What the fuck do I want to think about what my kid thinking about their sexual preference to be? I just want them to have, 10 fingers, 10 toes, and be able to, you know what I mean? I'm not sitting there trying to think what they gonna do with their sex parts. So for him to sit there and say you should just keep somebody around on standby just in case your kid get curious is kind of strange to me. So when you say, what the fuck is you doing over here supporting Trump? Trump ain't telling me to keep a penis on standby just in case my son get curious. Okay? All right? Right is right and wrong is wrong. I'm tired of this shit. Now we're going to have to be honest with each other sometime. All right? The Democrats been pushing this shit everywhere. Huh? Huh? Don't tell me I'm lying. I don't want to think about what my kid is up to or what they thinking about doing. I just want to know that they safe, they good. Whatever they doing with their peers is what the fuck they grew up doing with their peers. Our peers didn't grow up doing that shit. So how the fuck is Barack Obama sitting there thinking about what your kid doing with their motherfucking private parts before the fuck you don't think you didn't? All right, I'm gonna pull it up. See, that's the beauty of the internet. The internet is undefeated. What is that? Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Because she was at her table when she did it. You think I'm playing?
Well, we've got a question today.
Michelle being Malia and Sasha's mom, the starting point is this person is going to young male staff members when they talk to me about dating and relationships and what to look for. I say, look, the starting point is this person is going to raise your children alongside. And so I'll be honest with you. Michelle being Malia and Sasha's mom, that made all the difference. And then I do think, for whatever reason, we had similar strategies in the sense that I think we both believe that you give unconditional love to kids, but you also give them structure. That
now, mind you, he was not
always there for them and keeping them safe.
He didn't have a man in his life. Like his dad wasn't in his life.
2 or 3. No, you can't do that. No, you can't have that. We believed in explaining why, but we also believed in being firm. We had bedtimes and bath times, and You know, you had to
Man,
eat
get to the
your vegetables
motherfucking.
even if you didn't.
Get to the part where you say.
And so we had make mistakes and learn from them, setting high expectations, guidance, your community, people in the community, friends in your community, you know, places of worship, community organizations, what have you, where there are a bunch of men who can be places of worship, friends in your, still would be good. Even if you have a wonderful of us together, what I would say to Emma would be, in your community, even if you have a wonderful male partner who's in the house, I think it's still
Listen to this shit.
to find assets in the
No,
community.
no. I want you to listen to this
People
shit.
in the community, friends in your community, you know, places of worship, community organizations, what have you, where there are a bunch of men who can be sort of elders to boys. And so they're not just looking at one particular role model, but many. And you know, one of the things when Michelle and I first started dating and I'd go over to your guys' house, one of the things I loved was just, you know, seeing all your uncles and your cousins. And there were a bunch of different kinds of men. You know, there were men that were kind of soft-spoken, and then there were men that were loud, and there were men who were engineers, and then there were men who were, you know, police officers, or they drove, you know, a jitney cab.
How is she telling his story before him? That's what I want to know. How is Michelle Obama telling his story before him? She telling a jitney cab. Like, how you know he about to say a jitney cab? Like, how you know he about to say that? This motherfucker is on the stage. It's raining men. Hallelujah. It's raining men. Hey, hey, hallelujah. I like going over your house. It was men's everywhere. I was looking all around. I was liking all the men's that was everywhere.
And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is
men's everywhere.
Not just exposure to one guy. One dad. No matter how good the dad is.
He can't be
like,
everything.
he can't be everything.
Michelle Obama is saying it before he says it. I want y'all to think about that. Michelle Obama is saying the words before Barack Obama say the word. Is this scripted? Did they write this down? Is Cat Williams about to jump out? Huh? What the hell is going on? Yeah, Barack Obama said, I think men should be exposed. I think boys should be exposed to all types of men's. I think they shouldn't just be exposed to one man. I think they should be exposed to all types of men's. What the fuck is you saying, Barack? What is you telling us? Speak clearly so we can understand. What is you telling us you want us to do again? Huh? You want us to expose our boys to men's? Huh? That's a group. Huh? They sang on bended knee? Huh? Boys to men. I know boys to men. Shit. You want us to expose our boys to men's? Hell no. Hell no.
And then that boy may need somebody to give the boy some perspective on the dad.
Yeah.
Hold the fuck. Hold up. They might need that other man to give them perspective on their father. They father. Okay. Let me think about that. Another man giving my boy perspective of me.
You know what your mom always used to, your consequences, thinking about raising boys in the same way you're thinking about raising daughters, which is how do you make them good, responsible people who know how to function.
Now, I want y'all to think about that. Barack Obama never, ever was raised by a man. He was raised by his mom. He said he went to his, grandma's and stuff house, but he was really raised by his mom and stuff. You know, his mom and his grandma. He never was raised by a man. And he never raised a boy, right? So how can a man that raised two girls, never raised a boy, how can he even get up here and give this advice? You never had a father in your life to give you that advice, you know, to tell you how a boy was supposed to be. Your advice came from a woman's mindset or perspective, right? He never had a son, so he can't say that he raised a son to give this level of advice, right? And you're going to say that every boy, my kids graduated high school with a grade point average of a 3.8 and a 3.6. Both my sons graduated high school, and they didn't have no damn gay professor in their life telling them about their fascia. Huh? Okay. Never mind. All right. Y'all can look at it how y'all want to look at it because y'all don't want to accept it, Democrats. Y'all accept all the bullshit about Trump grabbing people by the pussy. All of that shit. Y'all want to accept all of that shit. But when it comes down to the bullshit that's going on with Michelle or Michael, whatever the fuck Hims wants to be called, right? Y'all don't want a motherfucker speak about that. Every single time it comes down to the bullshit that's going on with the Barack and Michael situation, y'all don't never want to speak about Barack and Michael. I'm sick of this shit. That's why I'm becoming a Trump fan. Because y'all don't never want to speak about
You can ask Johnny.
Michael. Huh? That's why I'm going over to the mega side. Because y'all don't ever want to speak about Barack and Michael and how them kids really ain't theirs and how the fuck they was in the army and shit together and all that other stuff. Huh? Huh? I'm ready to Trump or treat. Huh? Halloween coming, I'm Trump and treating. Fuck wrong with y'all? Get your Trump or treat ready. Huh? Everybody, Trump or treat in the comment section for October. Trump or treat in the comment section. Fuck that. Get your Trump or treat shirts out. We gonna have them in the Atlas store coming out soon. Trump or treat for Halloween. Trump or treat. Fuck that. We putting the shirts out.
Johnny would tell you.
Get your Trump or treat shirts. I want everybody to get a Trump or treat shirt. Fuck that.
He said Trump
It's
was
good
the
and
one
good.
who was
Trump or
and
treat.
The sad part is that I was not
Huh?
gonna have it. I would have
Get
to
your
be
Trump or
told that
treat
I
hats.
Even been invited to the
Get
game.
your Trump or treat shirts.
And
Get your Trump or treat shit.
I did not get 250. Okay. The 250.
Hey, I might be. I bet you I put these Trump or treat. I bet you I put. Oh, I like that. Trump is your treat. I like that. I like that. I'm putting these shirts out in the Atlas store. They'll be out by tomorrow. You'll be able to buy them by tomorrow.
Christy, because of you and Tom Holland.
We're gonna raffle some of them off this week.
So we have 250 coming.
Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button and get over to the Discord, because we're gonna raffle them off in the Discord. Like, just give a couple out so we can get the Trump or treat shirts going. Trump or treat, I like that.
It's gonna be done properly. So I just want to tell you, our country's in
Trump's your treat.
incredible shape. Our military is.
It's Halloween. It's for October. Trump's your treat shirt.
We had some fantastic decisions from the Supreme Court that let us put the people into the military.
You don't want a Trump your treat shirt?
That are best for the job, as opposed to some.
You don't want a Trump your treat shirt for Halloween?
It was killing our country.
Trump's your treat. I bet you all the mega fans buy that shit. Trump's your treat. I bet you they buy that shit.
A company based on your ability, as opposed to being forced in based on some factor that cannot make our country great. It was a big decision, very, very big decision. And we've had a lot of great decisions, and we've all made some great decisions sitting around this table.
Well, I get it. You know, you can buy either one of the shirts. I'm going to put out Trump or treat, you know, and then I'm going to put out Trump's your treat for the mega fans. Don't worry about it. We got you.
Really, I think you're born for this job. I don't think you should ever run for another office. I don't think you should, really. You're so good at this. He is so good, and everybody likes him.
Well, first you got to get Hillary and Obama first. If you're going to charge him with treason, you might as well get everybody, right? Go with Obama first. Because the method that they pushing over there on that side is chaos.
You seem to like it. Your audience seems to like it based on ratings. And I want to mention,
you like that? Trump's your treat?
Because we have a young lady here, Iris, of Epoch Times. You're Irish, aren't you, huh? And I heard you were very savagely mugged in the city. And
Did they lock Obama up already?
you're not gonna let that happen.
They didn't lock him up yet.
And that was last year. And would you like to mention what happened?
Of course. So first of all, thank you, Mr.
You
President,
wanna listen to this?
for having me here to share my story to the room and to the broader public. My name is Iris Tao. I'm a White House correspondent for NTD, the sister media of the Epoch Times. So more than 2 years ago, it was a Saturday morning in broad daylight. I was on my way to work, and a young man with a black ski mask pointed a gun in my face and threatened me to hand over my phone, my wallet, my laptop, and everything else. And when I refused, he used the butt of his handgun to strike me across the face, in the cheek, or what some people call pistol whip me, before running away. And that has deeply traumatized myself and my family. Ever since, I've never dared to walk in the street of DC at night, ever. And my family was extremely...
She's lying. She's lying. If she would have got pistol whipped, listen, if she would have got pistol whipped, I promise you she would still have the marks right now to show it. You ever get hit with a 50 cal, a Desert Eagle, anything like that? Even if you get hit with the butt of that gun, that motherfucker heavy as hell. That shit gonna leave a knot the size of Kentucky, right? And she's sitting here talking about something, and when I refuse, hold on, you was about 5'6" tops, right? What, you come with some special abilities, huh? You come with a motherfucking Kung Fu grip or something? An assailant ran up on you and said, give me that, and you said no, and he ran away? Shut up. Get the... They would have Chris Breezy, give me that. Do you like it when I breeze in the back? You can be in the back saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. They would have, what? Huh? And if that motherfucker, like, you got served. They'd have did that shit for Lil Saint. What the fuck? They came up with a gun and you just, no. And they just pissed what they might call a pistol whip. We didn't ask you for no motherfucking ebonics. You gonna give a motherfucking story. And now DC is safe and I can now report. Who runs up on you and asks you for all of your reporter equipment? They asked me for my camera, my laptop, my phone. Shut up. That's what they asked you for? Huh? Them motherfuckers would have said, give me everything. They're not just gonna say, ask for specific shit. I want your laptop, your phone, and your camera. I want it all. I might even take you. Get in the car. She is lying. This is fake news.
worried. So, Mr. President, thank you so much for what you're doing.
Fake
right
news
now,
has
because
accepted Trump.
Such incidents involve not just me, but also my family. If he had shot me, I could have died right there.
But you said
in the
no.
middle of nowhere without my family.
But you
or my
said
friends.
no. You didn't give him your
Back
shit.
then, I think,
Why you ain't give him your shit then?
23. Just starting my career here in DC without
Right.
even starting a family.
Right.
But now
Without
we're
even
blessed
starting
to
a
have the
family. But your
opportunity to
family is the one that's...
And you probably figured that he's gonna pull the trigger.
Right. That's why she said, no, I'm not giving you my stuff, because she feared for her life. Shut up.
Minor event, and I'm sure he's done it before. So how did you, and you did refuse to give it?
Correct.
Well, probably, maybe somebody would say that was not the right decision, right?
Right, my friends did call me crazy after.
And then he hit you real hard.
Yes.
It's-
Then he hit you real hard.
I'm very blessed, and that's why having this opportunity
Show
to
me the
stand
mark.
here to share
He
my
said,
story
wired your
today.
shit
One, I'm very
if somebody
grateful
hit your
for
ass real
allowing
hard.
me to still survive to
Where?
this day, but also to Mr. President. Thank you for now making DC safer for us, for our families, for my parents, on my behalf of my parents, and now my baby on the way. Thank you so much.
Oh, and you got a baby on the way? Oh, you're getting all the fucking sympathy. Oh, congratulations. Oh my God, baby on the way. All of this good stuff.
Violently. And not violently too, pretty badly. But, and I bet you see a big difference in the streets right now. And this is only 12 days.
DC
but,
is safer for her
people
baby
tell me
that's
they're
on
going
the
out to
way.
dinner now, They haven't, I told sir, my friend, but I have a
All
lot of
this
friends that are going out to
unsafety,
dinner
but
all
you
the
still
time now,
pop
these
locking,
single
dropping it on a
They weren't doing
handstand.
it 12 days ago. They would never even think. One of my friends went out 5 times. It was 4 times the last time I told. Now it's 5 times. He said, I love going out to dinner and restaurants. Just
I'm sorry, but you know, a lot of people got different, you know, things that they might have to worry about in this world. I don't really have to worry about that type of stuff because you know I am 6'5", you know, 220 pounds roughly, you know, athletic built. So I don't really have to worry about that part. A lot of people look at me and they like, man, if I ever get into it with you, I'm gonna pick up something for your big ass. So I don't have to worry about that part. And you know, I hate to say it, but the world we live in do bring different fears to different people, and that's not one of my fears. But you know, for the people that is walking around in fear of being robbed, you know, I get you. You know, I get what's going on. There's a lot of things that's happening in this world right now that people should be afraid of. You know what I mean? But you know, I got a 13. You know, and I got a nice size 13 boot that can surely go up some couple. So I'm good on that. You know what I mean? But there's no way that little small person right there, somebody ran up and said, give me all of this stuff that you got. And she was like, no. And they just, titty lolly boo and skipped away. That ain't it. You get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? There ain't no way, you know. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't even work out no more as long as they able to lift about 357. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even work out no more because everybody got at least a 380 bench press right about now. You know, they call them the equalizers. You know what I mean? Everybody can at least lift, a 4 to 5. You get what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, then you know what I'm saying. One's in the chat if you know what I'm saying. You know? You know? It's one of those rights. It's right around like the right to do something with arms. I'm not sure what it is, but you know, it's one of those things.
starting to open again. A lot of them closed because nobody wanted to go into a restaurant. Nobody wanted to get to a
Right,
restaurant.
should have gave that shit right up. Oh my
But
God,
it's a big
here you
difference
go.
now.
Take it.
Union Station every day.
She talking about something. I said no.
Seeing the trucks right outside, seeing the National Guard troops members right outside.
I said
Making me
no.
feel like I'm hopeful about DC again, and one day hopefully we can raise our family here.
Thank you very much. Those are tough troops, too. Those are not politically correct troops. We don't have politically correct anymore. We have tough guys, tough people, including some tough women. But we have tough people. And
What do you mean by that?
I tell you, they showed one scene.
What do you mean by those are not politically correct guys? What do you mean by that?
Maybe MS-13, maybe MSDNC, okay? Because to me, they're worse. I think they're worse. MSNBC maybe is worse than Trinidad. Real scum, real dishonest people. But anyway, they went into this gang. I think it was Trinidad, Venezuela, and they weren't nice to this group of people. The gang was calling them sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. You're no good. Get out of here. And yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. These are people that beat up people all day long.
Right.
And
Why
they call
she
it
smiling while he's saying this? Like, I don't even think she listening. She trying not to faint. Like, the camera's on me.
There's no games.
The camera's on me.
I said, you don't have to be politically correct. And you know the way they used to spit in the face of the soldiers?
Come on, we almost got 100 likes in here.
And you'd have some guy or some woman.
Somebody else appreciate the room.
Screaming at them from 1 inch away. They're standing there and they're told you cannot do anything. And they start spitting, actually spitting in their face. And
Appreciate the space we
you
created.
spit, we hit. And they're totally authorized to do that, all of those things. But your story is great.
That's some childish ass shit to say. If you spit, we hit. What's that? That is like 5th grade shit right
It's
there.
like a jungle.
You spit, we
It's not a
hit.
jungle anymore. And it's going to get so good that...
Double tap the screen or hit that like button.
Capital there is. It'll be one of the safest places in our nation anywhere. And right now, it's one of the most unsafe.
Look, you see this person's face when he say that? Watch this person's face when he say that. Watch her eyes when he say this is going to be the safest capital.
And it's going to get
Look,
so good that
watch her eyes.
this will be the safest
Watch her eyes.
capital there is. It'll be one of the safest places in the nation anywhere. And right now, it's one of the
Did
most
you see
unsafe
her
places,
glance?
but not
Did
now.
you see her glance?
Well,
Like,
12
yeah,
days ago, it was
right.
the most unsafe place in our nation, and they have to stop issuing false crime numbers because, I mean, I heard the mayor and I like the mayor.
You sound like a
I
hater.
don't care about
You don't know what I
She
sound
did her
like.
job.
I'm talking about
I
the
wish she
lady
were
that just
a
looked.
horrible person who did her job, but she's probably nice, I guess. I don't care.
If you didn't catch
I
it,
want
you
her
didn't
to do
catch
her
it. You
job.
don't know how to
But
read
they
body
issue false
language.
numbers. She said crime is down, you know, before we got it. Now they can say crime is down. Crime is very much down. But what they did is they issue numbers. It's the best in 30 years. Not the best. It's the worst. It's the worst. It's much worse. And they gave phony numbers, and then they fired the man who didn't want to write the phony numbers. He got fired. And I guess that whole situation is under investigation because it's a very important thing, Pam. I mean, if they're going to give these phony numbers, it's a false feeling that you get crime. You have to do something about it. You can't go around saying, "Oh, Washington D.C. safe," if it's not. It's going to be very safe very soon. It's very safe right now. You're going to go out, have dinner. People are going out.
You know
all
she
over
wanted
the
that
place. They're
camera off
working.
for her.
People that I have. People that work in government, strong, tough cookies. They can take care of themselves.
After telling that
It
fake
doesn't
ass
have to-
story.
it doesn't have
Yes,
to
a
have
guy
big, strong
ran up
muscles
on me and he was like, "Give me your shit."
If a guy's
And I was like,
over
"No."
with a gun,
And he hit
shooting
me.
you
I mean,
in your
pistol
face.
whip, if you would call
You can
it.
be the strongest guy in the world. Guy has a gun, shoots you in the face.
What if
It
he'd have
doesn't
shot
matter
you?
how much you
You
work
said
out, how many
no.
weights you've lifted, how much.
Look, they
how
keep
hard you
showing
work.
her.
And,
They keep showing her. You said
so we have
no.
the toughest guy,
Motherfucker had a
the best
gun in your
guys.
face and you said no.
I'm
Oh
willing
my
to go
God,
to
you're so
Chicago,
strong.
which is a big problem, but we have a governor that refuses to admit he has problems, huge problems. Baltimore,
We one
West
more
Lawn
like
was
away
telling
from
you,
100.
I want to walk with the
One
president.
more
Well, I
like
said,
away.
I want to walk with you too someday, but first you got to clean up your crime because I'm not walking. I'm not walking in Baltimore right now. Baltimore is a hellhole, and this guy, I don't even think he knows it. He's another candidate for president. Between him and Newsom,
She was so brave.
But if we didn't go into
You were
Los
so
Angeles, you wouldn't have the
brave.
Olympics. In my opinion, you wouldn't have the Olympics.
Yo, stop
We
with the
went
all
and the
caps. Stop with the
sheriff,
all caps in the
the
comment
boss,
section.
Said, thank God they're here. You could see his tape. He said, we were not able to control what was happening. That was the sheriff. And he said it loud and clear. And, you know, they're suing us for going in and cleaning up crime. And yet their own sheriff said, on the first or second night, he said, we could have never had. That was going to be, you were not going to have the Olympics because, or the World Cup, because that would be, there wouldn't be anything left. They shouldn't have lost 25,000 houses. The water was turned off from the Pacific Northwest. And I was after them in my first administration, turn on the water, turn it on. Nobody could have believed this could have happened. But they had no water in the fire hydrants. They had no water in the sprinkler systems that people put up in their ceilings. There was no water. And yet we have tremendous amounts of water. They send it all into the Pacific Ocean, trying to protect a little fish. It's not doing well because it doesn't do well without water either. And it shouldn't be protected because it shouldn't be a protected species. But I think that's actually just an excuse. I actually think these people are sick. There's something wrong. So we send hundreds of millions of gallons of water a day into the Pacific Ocean. They turn a valve and the valve heads out and we turn the valve back. I actually had to do it using force. We turned the valve back and now they have water, but not as much as they should have because they should. And I'm telling Gavin Newsom by this conversation right now, turn the rest of the water on, turn it on. So things are done that are so sad in this country. Lack of common sense. I like to say the Republican Party is the party with common sense. We're smart, we're sharp, we're this and that. They're smart, but they're radical left people. And they can't help it. They're very smart, but they're radical left and they're destroying our country. but they're not gonna destroy it anymore. So we picked up millions of people in the Republican Party. They lost millions of people. And I think we're gonna do very well in the midterms. And I just wanna say one other thing, and that's medicine. The cost of medicine all over the world is much cheaper than the United States because for years the world pushed us around, including our friends. And you go to Germany, you go to England, you go to different places, and you go to a store and it's sometimes 10% of what we pay in the United States. Because they said, nope, we're not paying anymore. You charge the United States. This went on for 25, 30 years. And I invoked favored nations. I said, I want to pay the same as they pay. And Bobby Kennedy is doing a good job, and Dr. Oz is doing a good job. And I asked them, I mean, other than the basic that they're doing on autism and other things, we've got to solve that problem.
Why they keep throwing her?
What's happening side of hand. But this is the most important thing that can be done. Is
Why they keep
favored
throwing
nations,
her?
Bobby. And we're not talking about a 25% cut or 50. We're talking about a 1,500% cut. Because people go to Europe to buy drugs and they come back with drugs, prescription drugs, normal, not, I don't mean the bad drugs, I mean prescription drugs. Because you can buy them for 10%, 15%, 20%, or what. So they're gonna go up in price. And I told the countries, and I get along good with all of them. I mean, you can ask any, I get along good with all of them. But I said, you know, I told them, I said, you're gonna go up a little bit because it's the world. It's the world, so more people in the world than we have. We're gonna go down a lot, and they're gonna go up a little. And it's called equalization. We're gonna have equalization. So we pay the same price as the lowest drug sold anywhere in the world. And I think, Bobby, that's gonna happen pretty soon. The companies are ready for it. They had to go for years. I was with a very great gentleman from Eli Lilly. I think he's an incredible executive. I mean, I'll mention the company and I'll mention him because we had this argument my first term, and then we had it in my second term. In my second term, I wouldn't stop until I won the point, and he threw up his hands. He says, "You're right. I can no longer defend it. I can no longer defend that a pill that's made by Johnson & Johnson in a factory, in the same factory, in the United States versus a place in Europe or other places, including Canada, by the way, you could buy it for 10% or 15% or 20%, the cost of what we're paying. Well, we'd pay 5, 6, 7 times more money." He said, "It's the hardest part of my job, defending that. I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm saying that we have to get down to business." And that's a great company. He's done a great job, and I appreciated it. And it really broke the ice because they were saying, well, we have to do research and development. Well, you have to do it for Germany and all these other countries too. Well, they think the United States should bear it. I mean, I heard this stuff, and I finally said, it's over. Now, you have to have somebody that can get these countries to do it. I told them, if you don't do it, we're gonna charge you a 25% tariff on everything you send into our country. That's much more money than what we're talking about. Then we have to get the drug companies to do it, and they'll do it because we have tremendous power over the drug companies too. So we're gonna get it done. I just hope we get it done fast, Bob, because this thing should go fast. But we're gonna get, the cost of medicine is gonna be 1,000%. Think of that, not 2%. And I just tell this last story. When I was in my first term, in my last year, I was so proud of myself because drug prices went down for the first time in 28 years under my administration. You know how much it went down? 1/4%. And I was so proud of that. And I held a news conference, I think you'll be able to find it, congratulating myself and my administration because for the first time in 28 years, drug prices went down. 1/4%. That isn't tiny, but it still went down. And I thought it was great. And then I realized, you know, it's a very complicated business and formula. You have to be very smart.
It was a small percentage, but
We're really getting ripped off by the whole world. The whole world is ripping us off. And what happened is, I got on this kick, and I got the drug companies to agree, and I got countries to agree. And they're not agreeing because they think I'm a nice person. They're agreeing because I will put charges and costs and tariffs onto them that will be many times more than what they're going to be paying. So the companies are there and the countries are there, and we gotta get it done, Bobby, we gotta get it done. And we're gonna have the biggest price of that. Now, that's gonna lower Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, this is gonna lower everything, because drugs go for everything. It's gonna have the biggest impact, I think, of anything that can possibly be done. But your costs are gonna be going down for medicine, for prescription drugs, will be going down at levels that nobody ever thought possible. And that's gonna happen in a matter of a very short period of time. And we're all set with the countries, and we're all set with the companies. That's all you need, the two. And the middleman gets cut out. Under this scenario, the middleman doesn't exist anymore. That was the other thing. They always blamed the middleman. I said, who are the middlemen? Nobody knew who the middleman was. You know, they had the most complex formula. It was genius, but they didn't get away with it. So I'm counting on Bobby. Do you want to start, Bobby? Maybe we'll start with you. You can start with that and then go on to what we're talking about.
We are deep into MFN negotiations, most favored nation status negotiations with 14 companies. Howard Lutnick is a breath of fresh air, and I think he's going to help us get across the finish line with the leverage that we have from tariffs.
You're smart. Don't let them get away with it.
The combination of Bobby's MFN and the 232 Pharmaceuticals, which we launched together,
Right.
when you put those two together, it really gives Bobby the tools to go execute your plan. So I'm supporting Bobby as he executes his plan.
Good. Right?
Yes, and this cabinet meeting is supposed to be about working Americans and bringing jobs back to this country, and particularly rural America. And I want to mention the big, beautiful bill. Right now, we spend 7% of Medicaid dollars on rural hospitals. So they're getting the short end of the stick. It's about $19 billion a year. Under the Rural Transformation Program, we give them an extra $10 billion a year. So we're raising an infusion of cash to rural hospitals and rural communities by 50%. It's going to be the biggest infusion in history, and it's going to restore and revitalize these communities. And we can't survive as a nation if we don't honor our rural communities, which are the source of our values, our virtues, our character, our economy, our food. And you are bringing that back. You are bringing those communities back. I wanted to talk, because you mentioned the wind farms, we now have an interdepartmental coalition, a team, which is Doug Burgum and Howard Lutnick and Chris Wright and Pete Hegseth. We're all working on this issue. And Lee, sorry, Lee. We're all working together on this issue. We're meeting together. There are right now 11 wind farms planned that were launched during the Biden administration. Between Maine and Virginia, it's 1,130 towers. These towers are twice the size of the Washington Monument. The blades on them are
massive. It's so crazy.
The blades are 350 feet long, one blade. One of these blades blew up on Nantucket last summer, and the water was filled with shards of glass, of sharp glass, so it's dangerous to swim. They had to close the beaches, but they have indemnified themselves to the local communities.
Come on, bro, like you selling
None of
this
these
too
projects
tough.
are bonded. If you build an oil derrick,
He is trying to-
you got to put.
Trump's gonna say, "Great
There's no
job,
bond
great
for
job."
dismantling them, and that's one of the tools that Doug is now using to challenge some of
Somebody
these
better
projects.
give him an
One
attaboy.
of the cost of energy from these projects is 39 cents a kilowatt hour. The average cost in this country is 17 cents per kilowatt hour.
He better get an attaboy after this.
3 cents.
Right. So it is the most expensive energy.
This is the attaboy moment.
Representing commercial fishermen for 40 years. They are so excited about what you're doing, Mr. President, because their fisheries are being wiped out. As soon as they begin construction, the groundfish fisheries just disappear. The fish leave the area. They've killed 160 whales in the last 2 years. So they're wiping out the whale population, the Atlantic whale population, the big whales, the minkies, the gray whale, or the humpback whales, the right whales. And you are going to save the whales on the East Coast because of this. And you're going to save these economies that are based upon commercial fishing.
Oh my God, Trump, you're gonna do so much.
Fishing. We are now, the South Asian nations are now dumping shrimp on our country. The shrimp is heavily contaminated. We just stopped a shipment that was contaminated with cesium-157, which is radioactive. They're farming these shrimps, and they use bactericides and antibiotics and all kinds of chemicals, and the shrimp are so contaminated that the European nations won't take them, so they're dumping them all here, and they're putting out of business. We have the most sustainable, highly regulated fishery in the world. What our fishermen do is a good thing. And all the trawlers in the Gulf and Alaska are being shut down because we're getting shrimp dumped here. So we have now increased FDA inspections of shrimp to make sure that Americans are not buying and eating contaminated shrimp and putting our shrimpers out of business. I talked just very briefly.
Didn't Walmart just recall a bunch of shrimp just now?
We brought together 80% of the insurance industry, which has agreed to, for 80% of diseases and injuries, to give immediate pre-authorization so that when you go to your doctor's office and he prescribes you a new knee or whatever it is, you will immediately know whether your insurance company is going to pay for it. This is an historic agreement. People have been trying to do it for decades, and we, because of your leadership, brought the insurance industry together and got them to voluntarily agree to do this. Similarly, we've made another historic agreement with personal health records. The 60 biggest tech companies in our country have all agreed to allow Americans for the first time access to their personal data, which they own, which these companies have been monetizing without permission. You're going to be able to see by next year all of your health records on your cell phone. It's going to save lives. It is going to fuel an infusion of technology into that space where people can access those records. They can compare their diet to what they personally need, and we'll have personalized medicine. We are doing price transparency. You passed this during your first term, and then the Biden administration refused to enforce it. We've now brought at HHS, under your leadership and my leadership, more enforcement actions than during the entire 4 years of the Biden administration. So we're going to have that kind of price transparency. I'm working with Linda on forcing medical schools. And the MCATs, the people who administer the MCATs, the people
I know when he got home, his wife was like, "You sound like a bitch."
Into medical school education. Right now, 25% of the doctors in this country do not feel competent to give nutritional advice. 70% of diabetes cases can be reversed.
I put some man in your voice. But the base, say it with your chest.
Only know how to
This motherfucker sound like he on a brick of crying, about to cry, wanna cry. Just cry already. Shit, this is a long ass, I'm almost gonna cry.
Most importantly, the Pete and Bobby Challenge. I want to give an update. I got 5 minutes and 48. It's 100 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, and you try to do it within 10 minutes. I got 5 minutes and 48 seconds. Pete beat me. I'm still bitter at that. 5 minutes 25. The cabinet leader is Scott Turner.
This thing, what is going on? Just cry already, my boy.
You got 5 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm waiting for reports from the rest of the cabinet. The only exemptions currently existing is...
Why he sound like that? They still letting him...
Which President Trump did with Bryce and DC.
Oh,
so
shit.
he's the only one exempt in this room. Everybody else will have to report.
That's great, Bobby. Bobby, autism, if I could, I don't want to go too long, because we have a lot of people, but the autism is such a tremendous horror show, what's happening in our country and some other countries, but mostly our
That's what they're not talking about, the autism.
Very well. We will have announcements as promised in September. We're finding certain interventions now.
That's what it is. This dude is autistic or some shit. He's the lead. That's him. That's why they let him talk for so long. Yeah, Trump's like, yeah, this is our autistic management personnel.
That are clearly, almost certainly causing autism. And we're going to be able to address those in September.
It's such a big day. I'm looking forward to that day because there's something wrong when you see the kind of numbers that you have today versus 20 years ago. And those numbers, what are those numbers, Bob?
Well, in 1970, the biggest epidemiological study in history was done in Wisconsin. They looked at 900.
Yeah, that was for
looking for autism. They knew what it looked like.
No.
And they were very, very precise about it.
You see, they lying. You see that story right there? He telling. This is when they started looking for indigos. This is when they started putting labels on you like ADD, ADHD, so on and so forth. This is when they wasn't looking for autistic children. This is when they were looking for indigos, you know, and people who mind operated faster, you know, than what they did in the physical world, and they try to slow down their brain capacity. That's what they were looking for in the early 80s, you know, 1978, so on and so forth. That's why the Pope went and apologized to Canada and the Indians.
And they found an incident rate of 0.7, in other words, less than 1 for every 10,000 children. Today, our most recent numbers are 1 in every 31 kids. It's probably actually much worse than that because California, which has the best.
Ooh, 120 likes. Thank y'all for 120 likes. Appreciate that.
1 in every 12.5 boys. So it's gone from less than 1 in 10,000 in 1970 to 1 in 12.5 boys today.
Those numbers. So there has to be something artificially causing this, meaning a drug or something. And I know you're looking very strongly at different things, and I hope you can come out with that as soon as possible. So 1 in 10,000, and now it's 1 in 31 or 34 or 12 if it's a boy. Can you imagine that? 1 in 12. That's for a boy.
One every 12 boys is coming out autistic. That's crazy numbers right there. We got to look that up.
Not so long ago. I've been hearing these numbers.
We got to look that up. That's crazy numbers right there.
There's got to be something. I think there's nothing, including favored nations and everything else, there's nothing that can be, if you can find out the reason that that's happening, and I know we're gonna do some things. I think we maybe know the reason.
One out of every 12 boys are coming out autistic. Fuck no, that can't be right. 1 out of every 12 boys? Hell no, that's a story within itself. Shit, that's a topic by itself right there. Somebody should do a topic on that. 1 out of every 12 boys.
All of that's working well. Mr. President, thank you very much. Since we are
that ain't real statistic numbers right there.
And I know
that ain't real. Come on.
Or you're both going to echo
that
some
ain't
of
real.
the things that I'll say as well.
Somebody's lying about those
focusing,
numbers.
on our workforce. But what I'm finding.
Hey, make sure y'all hit that Cash App too. Y'all make sure y'all hit that Cash App. Throw $2 or $3 at the Cash App just to support the page. You know, until we get monetized late September, throw $2 or $3 at the Cash App, man. Appreciate y'all.
With great joy around the country is that states really are being innovative and working more with middle schools and with high schools to make sure that we are having hands-on learning, their pathways to jobs that are happening now. And if we see more and more of our community colleges working with our middle schools and our high schools so that high school students are graduating not only with a diploma, but a certificate that they have worked with, perhaps with a Toyota or another company that is coming in, public-private partnerships. And they're learning on the job so that when they graduate from high school, they're ready to go into the workforce. Because we know with all of these wonderful jobs that are coming back into the country, through AI, through just our normal jobs, that we need electricians, HVAC operators, etc. If we don't have this training, we're not going to have the workforce we need for all these wonderful jobs. So governors are really excited about this prospect. I've been now to several states, and visited community colleges and tech schools with governors, and they're just all on board for getting this done. I think it's one of the best things that we're hearing relative to the job market. So we're just kind of focusing on that for today.
So we're bringing education back to the states, to put it in a more simple fashion. We're gonna let the states educate our children again. And you know, we're rated out of 40 countries, we're 38, 39, or 40. So obviously, it's not working what they've been doing for the last 30, 40 years. And if you go back, the best are like Norway, Denmark, Sweden, some of the other, Finland, they're very highly rated. If you go back to, just take a look at anything you want to do, you just look at us in the past. If we gave Iowa or gave Indiana or gave, and I don't say every one of them, you know, a guy like Gavin Newsom's not going to do well. Certain states won't do well. But even California, you cut it up into sections. You have Riverside, you have this, you have that. You cut it into 5 sections. And, you know, if you had a good governor, you'd be able to do well. But certain states will be able to compete with Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and everyone. It'll be just as good. So I figure you have close to 40 of those states. And then you'll have 10, you'll have 5 that won't be very good. You have 5 disasters, and we'll have to work on those disasters. But for the most part, we will have education that will go zooming up in those charts, just like we have in everything else we've done. And I think it's one of the most important things we're doing at this table. So bringing education back to the states where you have the parents running it, where you have the school boards that are local. We have people running from Washington that have never even been to the state that they're in charge of. They've never even been there, and I don't think they care about it. So we want to close up the Washington buildings, sell the buildings off, let somebody else get rich with the real estate, because it'll be a crime-free city. By the way, speaking of that, anybody murders something in the Capitol, capital punishment, capital punishment. If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative. And everybody that's heard it agrees with it. I don't know if we're ready for it in this country, but we have it, we have no choice. So in DC and Washington, states are gonna have to make their own decision. But if somebody kills somebody, like you could have been killed, very lucky you didn't get killed, it's the death penalty, okay? Fantastic job you're doing, thank you, Linda. Thank you. How are you doing with the colleges, by the way? You're doing some good work in terms of getting them to treat people fairly.
Well, interestingly enough, since we've been negotiating with some of the Ivy League schools, I have presidents of universities calling every single week. They want to sit down and talk to us about all of the steps that they are taking, because they would like to not come under the same investigative program, and so it is having its desired effect.
That's great.
So if you fire a shot across the bow, and the big guys, people kind of step in line and know you mean business, and we have teeth in these agreements, and I'm proud of the work that we're doing there.
Well, they misbehaved, and some of these schools are getting billions and billions of dollars, and they misbehaved, so that's it. And so one way or the other, we're gonna win that whole thing. It's gonna straighten them out, okay? Thank you. Great job. Thank you. Lee, please.
Mr. President, the Trump EPA has a special Labor Day message to America's workforce, especially our auto workers, our coal miners, our steam fitters, our pipe fitters, and the list goes on. See what a difference a year makes. A year ago, the way that the Environmental Protection Agency was operating, the choice was made to protect the environment. We would have to strangulate the economy. That's the way that the EPA operated for years. There was a binary choice. We had to choose one or the other. The Trump EPA completely rejects that. See, we choose to protect the environment and grow the economy. And a very special shout out to Russ Vogt and his team at the Office of Management and Budget. We give him a lot of work. He's happy to do it. Dozens of different deregulatory actions. We just announced a proposed rescission of the 2009 Obama EPA endangerment finding, all of the light, medium, and heavy-duty vehicle regulations that followed. It is the single largest deregulatory action in the history of the United States government. And when you add up the dozens of different actions that we have announced that we're working through, in one agency in 1 year, we'll do more deregulation than entire federal governments have done across all agencies, across entire presidencies. And what we are accomplishing would not be possible if not for the support of the rest of this team you've assembled around this table. The well-oiled, well-wired machine at the White House, led by Susie Wiles, and the DCOSP, the policy shop, led by Stephen Miller, they have been amazing to work with. I was just in Iowa with Administrator Loeffler, who made an announcement with Secretary Rollins to reverse the deratement on diesel exhaust fluid systems. Mr. President, you said you wanted water flowing faster. Working with the Secretary of Energy, we've done our part to do that, to get gas cans flowing faster, to stop that annoying start-stop feature in vehicles. See, people out there might say, well, why are you focused on all of these little things? If it's little to you, it doesn't mean that it's not a very big deal for millions of other Americans. The charge was clear when you called me in November and you asked me to do this job. Clean air, land, and water for all Americans. Unleash energy dominance. Advance cooperative federalism, permitting reform, make America the AI capital of the world, bring back American auto jobs. What we are accomplishing now, again, wouldn't be possible if not for your leadership. I'm grateful to the American people for electing you and our amazing Vice President. I was just in Mexico City announcing and signing on behalf of the Trump administration an agreement with Mexico for a permanent solution for the Tijuana River sewage crisis, which you have been so outspoken and passionate about in our conversations. It would not be possible if not for Secretary Rubio, Deputy Secretary Landau, U.S. Ambassador to Mexico Johnson. The team at the State Department has been incredible. The work with the NEDC on permitting, to be able to get new pipelines built, to get new factories started. The list, it's amazing. So, somebody out there might not realize the relationship between the Environmental Protection Agency and the Department of Defense. The amount of work with Secretary Hegseth and the Army Corps, from responding to the LA wildfires, to getting more water flowing in California, which is also something that Secretary Burgum is involved with, to helping the farmers, the ranchers and landowners to revise the waters of the United States definition so they don't have to go hire an attorney or consultant to tell them whether or not a water on their property is subject to federal regulation. Thank you for putting this entire team together. It's an honor to be at the Trump EPA, where we choose to both protect the environment and grow the economy. It's a very happy Labor Day for America's workforce.
And Lee, in Los Angeles, because of the fires, Lee was there, and as you know, we have very strict federal rules having to do with the rebuilding of those houses. And Lee was able to get the approvals done for everybody immediately. It was so fast, nobody could believe it. And the mayor and the governor still haven't gotten their approvals. And they're gonna have riots out there for that reason. These are great homeowners. They wanna build a house, they can't get approved because you have the mayor, Bass, who has no idea what she's doing. And you have a governor who is just such a bad governor, and the people are unable to build a house. The toughest permit to get was the federal permit by far, and yet he got them all in a short period of time after the fire. How long did it take?
Mr. President, you came in, signed an executive order, and told the EPA that we had less than 30 days to complete our hazardous material removal, which the initial response, once all of our heart rates went down a bit, was just to figure out how to get it done. We got it done in just less than 30 days. The Army Corps of Engineers then comes in for the debris removal. The federal government, in clearing over 13,000 properties that were destroyed because of these wildfires. We've got to the point today where property owners all across Los Angeles, they're grateful to the Trump administration. They're happy that we did our part, but they are desperate to rebuild. And there is not a single green light approval that they are waiting for from the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers proudly have done our work. It's important for those local officials to let these property owners build on their land. It's their property. It doesn't belong to the mayor of Los Angeles. And they need to represent their people better. They're ready to build.
When will they have their permits from Los Angeles?
Well, here's the problem, Mr. President, is that they have been ready since the moment we were done with the federal part. I mean, when I was visiting a week after, actually, I thought my first trip was gonna be to Los Angeles. However, the moment I got confirmed, the vice president said, you're going to East Palestine right away. So that actually ended up being the first visit because the vice president's so passionate about that from the great state of Ohio. Then we went to Los Angeles from there. We're talking about the beginning of February, where we were meeting with property owners already. They were already all set up. They had the contractors. It was the beginning of February, and they were waiting for green lights from Los Angeles to be able to go onto their property and start rebuilding. Some of the same people who were waiting for a green light ready with the contractors at the beginning of February are still waiting now in the middle of August. Let these Californians rebuild.
Also taking away some of the properties and building low-income housing on those properties. They're gonna have problems like they've never had before. These people don't know what they're doing. So we have all our permit, everything the federal government has to do was done long ago. They should have been, I went to a town hall with Lee, but we were there and the mayor was saying it would take 2 years, maybe 3 years to get this approved. I said, no, not 2 years, 2 days. They should have it in 2 days. And I toured the site and I met 100 homeowners, all standing in front of this site a couple of days after the fire. And they were ready to go right then. They wanted to just build right then. And the city won't let them do it. Los Angeles, I don't think it's that they won't. I think they're incompetent, okay, to be honest with you. I think they just don't know how to go about it. It is so badly run by Newscomb and by Mayor Bass. Mayor Bass, she was in Africa during the fire. She knew the fire was starting to rage and she decided to take a trip to Africa. These people they're just bad. You know, you talk about make America great again. They could never make America great again, but we are doing that. Congratulations, you found some interesting things, Dawson.
Yes, sir.
You're becoming a bigger and bigger star every day. You found a lot of good things. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. As we approach Labor Day weekend here, this is just such a great opportunity really to recognize your leadership as a true champion for working people. And I know we'll hear as we go around the table here how your focus singularly on putting the well-being and interests of the American people first is that common thread that we're seeing in your policies being implemented across your administration. For ODNI, number one, our focus is and must always be making sure that our intelligence community is focused on our mission, keeping the American people safe, secure, and free. We're doing great work on this front. I'll point out our National Counterterrorism Center, led by Director Joe Kent, are working across different agencies with Homeland Security, DEA, FBI, and others to catch terrorists, both those who are trying to come into our country, those who may already be in our country. They are
Let's get
finding
those
the
lights
worst of
up.
the cartel bosses and making sure that they're not able to continue to wreak havoc and terror in our communities. Secondly, Mr. President, you have charged me with the mission of finding the truth and telling the truth to the American people. And we've exposed some of the worst examples of the weaponization of intelligence in the last several weeks. I will continue down that mission and that path wherever it leads. Transparency, telling the truth is what will drive true accountability for the American people who deserve nothing less. And lastly, Mr. President, all of us are charged with being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. I've gone through a reorganization for ODNI that we've announced in the last week. We've cut nearly half of redundant, unnecessary functions within ODNI, saving taxpayers over $700 million a year. We will continue focusing on our core mission in keeping the American people safe and appreciate your leadership and your focus on this most critical task.
And we've also found many bags of information. I think they call them burn bags. They're supposed to be burned and they didn't get burned. having to do with how corrupt the 2020 election was, and when will that all come out?
Mr. President, I will be the first to brief you once we have that information collected, but you're right, we are finding documents literally tucked away in the back of safes in random offices in these bags and in other areas, which again speaks to the intent of those who are trying to hide the truth from the American people and trying to cover up the politicization that was led by people like John Brennan and James Clapper and others that have caused really immeasurable harm to the American people and to our country.
Great job. Thank you. We look forward to hearing it. The public looks forward. Thank you very much. Administrator?
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, everyone knows there's no stronger advocate for hardworking American families than you, sir. Thank you for the largest tax cut in American history for working families. The average family of four is going to save about $10,000 take-home pay more a year. And what we're seeing is an increase in the child tax credit, the increase in the standard deduction. Hardworking families are going to benefit from this bill, and small businesses. There's no bigger beneficiary than Main Street, because small business makes up 99% of all businesses in this country. I've traveled to nearly half of our states, 24 unique states. I've made 40 state visits. In fact, I was with our great vice president at a small business manufacturer in Georgia last week. I was with a trucking company in Ohio. I was in Michigan at a motorcycle manufacturer. The return of Made in America is going to be driven by small businesses, because 98% of all of our manufacturers in America are small and medium businesses, 600,000 factories that employ 5 million people. And as Secretary McMahon mentioned, this work-based learning that is going on in professional and trade schools is real. I've visited them from Utah to Maine to Georgia and seen this revolution in education happening. So small businesses need skilled labor. Now that you solve for inflation, for the taxes, every Democrat voted for a $4 trillion tax increase on the backs of hardworking Americans. And so you prevented that. And now we've got fair trade. And thanks to Administrator Zeldin, we're seeing deregulation. I mean, this diesel exhaust fluid crushed farmers and construction and other heavy industry. So rolling that back makes a real difference for small business. And your domestic economic agenda is amplified through small businesses, which is why small business optimism is above its 53-year average, finally. And so Main Street appreciates it. What Main Street wants now is a rate cut. They feel burdened by high interest rates. They would grow higher and expand more if they could, but the interest rates are really hurting them. And finally, I want to say thank you for your executive order on debanking. We're about to announce a major investigation on debanking. It happened to you and your family. It happened to me. It happened to thousands and thousands of Americans, and unfortunately, disproportionately on those that had conservative values, on Christians, on pro-life, on 2A businesses. And so we're going to be talking to the banks about that. The SBA operates the largest government business loan program in the federal government. We have a network of 5,000 banks, so we're going to be making sure that that never happens to anyone again.
You're doing a great job. Thank you very much. Christy?
Well, Mr. President, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to work for you. And you committed when you ran for president to make America safe again. And today, the average family and individual that lives in this country is safer than they've been in years because of what you've done. We've got 3 months in a row now with 0 illegal aliens coming into this country. And I want to thank Pete and the Department of Defense for all of their help. They're down at the border with us still, helping us keep that border secure and make sure we know who's coming into this country. You've arrested and brought to justice hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens, criminals that have perpetuated violence against American people. Sir, you've had 1.6 million people voluntarily go home to their home countries that were here in this country illegally. Because of your strong message and you enforcing the law, they decided to go home on their own so that they could come back the right way someday and be American citizens. But what I think is one of the most remarkable statistics is that under Joe Biden's administration, 88% of new jobs went to foreign-born individuals. Under your administration, 2.5 Americans have jobs today. that they didn't under the previous administration. And they have those jobs because you created opportunities. You made this country safe. You opened up the economy. You enforced the law. Now people can get up and provide for their families and go to work every day and be confident in that. And the last thing I would say is that it's incredibly important to know that every one of those illegal aliens that has gone home, they were costing us about $8,700 to $9,000 a piece in what they were taking out of our social programs, out of Social Security. You saved this country billions of dollars, about $15 billion, just in what those illegal aliens were costing us in social programs. I've cut over 450 different contracts at the Department of Homeland Security. We're getting rid of corrupt ones that were not efficient for taxpayers, weren't focused on our mission of keeping us safe. And we've also renegotiated and brought in our biggest vendors and said you have to do better. And we've saved the taxpayers over $13 billion doing that as well. So we're continuing to be accountable to taxpayer dollars, but sort of focused on doing the mission of what you've committed, and that's to keep us safe and to make sure we put Americans first.
Well, great job, and great job on the border. We had millions and millions of people coming. To think 3 months in a row, 0.
It's incredible.
Well,
That's
as you can see, we still got a lot to go. We'll bring it back this afternoon. I hope you join the Discord. I hope you join the TikTok, however you want to follow. We have to do some stuff in the Discord. I have to go make some stuff available in the Discord, so on and so forth. But, you know, for everyone that's here, you know, love is love. Namaste, Ashe, salutation, salam. I hope you have a great day. I hope you know, be great on purpose. You know what I mean? Be great on purpose. Make sure you hit the sub button. Make sure you subscribe to the page. We'll be back this afternoon or maybe around 3 o'clock or something like that. So y'all have a great one.